What's up, Roos? I'm Lawrence Brooks IV, and welcome to a new semester of Roo News
COVID-19 mask mandate.
There's a lot to cover.
Lieutenant Governor Mike UMKC reported.
It's been 2 years since Justice Horn lost his re-election bid. Now in 2022, Horn is running for a Jackson County legislator seat. Thanks for joining us. I'm Christian Martinez, filling in for Lawrence Brooks IV.
And I'm Sylvia Jeffress. Horn recently met with numerous Kansas City politicians and folks to talk about climate change at the KC Climate Action Summit. This is one of the many things he is doing to support this Kansas City area while running for county legislator. If elected, Horn would be the first openly gay person of color to serve as a county official in Missouri.
The war in Ukraine has some UMKC political science professors voicing their matters on the issues. Professors Greg Vaname and Rebecca Best viewpoints on the conflict do not favor Putin or Russia sustaining economically from war. Vaname says the Ukrainian resistance is much tougher. With economic and financial pressures from the West to support Ukraine, resistance will only get stronger. Best says Putin, through his popularity, would rise and be over soon. Russian media coverage of the conflict has encouraged Russian support for the war. Putin's status in Russia makes it difficult for him to be overthrown.
Chancellor Molly Agrawal had his yearly State of the University address this past Thursday. Throughout his speech, he discussed some major changes for UMKC. Agrawal's biggest promise was making a commitment to give Pell Grant-eligible students a full ride. He also wants to heavily fund the UMKC Health Sciences District, asking for $50 million in state funding and an extra $50 million for the program. The Chancellor would love to invest $315 million over 10 years to increase pay for staff and faculty members on campus. Finally, Agrawal wants to invest in multiple buildings on campus, but hasn't said that he would help improve the dorms.
Now, from UMKC News, we go to Kansas City News. Have you explored the City of Hearts? UMKC alumni collaborated with other local artists around the greater Kansas City area to fundraise for local businesses impacted through COVID-19 with the Parade of Hearts. The art installation of 154 hearts will take place over the month of March and will be on display till May. The hearts will take place on the Missouri and Kansas side, representing various city landmarks throughout both states. Auctions of the hearts will also benefit the arts community and individual projects and activities that have the potential to advance their careers and build their capacities for the future.
Nordstrom is leaving their contract with the plaza in early 2018. Nordstrom said it would relocate from the plaza's west side. Now it appears the move from Oak Park Mall is off. Nordstrom on the plaza was slated to open in 2021, but due to the COVID-19 pandemic was delayed to 2023. Ella Prater, who works at Paper Source on the plaza, said having a big brand's name like Nordstrom would have been great to increase foot traffic.
An apartment fire in Kansas City injured 15 people this past weekend. Kansas City firefighters said a fire on East 42nd Street near Pittman Road was set intentionally. The fire had destroyed stairs and the people on higher floors needed to be rescued. 15 people were injured, including 9 children. The Kansas City Police Department have announced a $5,000 reward for information on who may be responsible for the fire. Now, we pass it over to Jackson Ogden and Marissa Leggio for Into the Den with Jackson Ogden.
Welcome back into the Den. I'm Jackson Ogden. Royals opening weekend is in the books, and Marissa, I know both me and you were there on opening day in this sleet, windy conditions watching this team's campaign kick off. But for those who missed it, how'd the boys in our blue do?
What a weekend for our boys in blue. The Kansas City Royals made their opening day debut this past Thursday and picked up their first win of the season. Zach Greinke pitched 5 innings and only gave up 1 run. Nicky Lopez and Bobby Witt Jr. both had doubles, while Andrew Benintendi singled on a ground ball to center field. The Royals beat the Guardians 3-1. Brad Keller headed to the mound for Saturday's game and went 6 innings, allowing 2 hits and no runs. Andrew Benintendi led the team with 3 hits, and Bobby Witt Jr. and Salvador Perez had quite the play that prevented the Guardians from scoring. Colin Snyder made his MLB debut and pitched a scoreless 10th inning. In the bottom of the 10th, Alberto Mondesi singled on a line drive to center field, while Kyle Isbell ran home to win the game. The Royals secured a walk-off 1-0 win against Cleveland. On Sunday, Chris Bubic headed to the mound, and things quickly went south. Bubic pitched 2/3 of an inning and gave up 5 runs. However, Bobby Witt Jr. doubled, Michael A. Taylor and Hunter Dozier had 2 hits each, and Ryan O'Hearn grounded into a force out. The Guardians took a strong lead early in the game, and the Royals couldn't quite catch up. The Royals lost their first game of the 2022 season 17-3. They have one more game to play in the Cleveland series and will hopefully pick up the final game win.
Thanks, Marissa. Yeah, that game's currently going on as we're recording this now. They're down 4-1. We'll see. You know, I was literally sitting in my seat opening day on the first base side, waiting for the game to start, and all of a sudden, out of every seat in the stadium, down comes Marissa Leggio, sitting 3 rows in front of me. Safe to say this sports team here at UMKC thinks alike. On to some other sports news, the Masters went down this past weekend, and many of golf's biggest names had standout performances. Legend Tiger Woods was able to give it a go after being involved in a scary crash in February of 2021. He ended up shooting a +13, which was good for 47th, but it was still good to see him be able to compete. Rory McIlroy looked all but dead heading into the final on the 4th day in the final round when he shot an absurd 8 under to finish with a score of 7 under. While that performance was amazing, it wasn't enough to top Scottie Scheffler's score of 10 under, which was good enough to win him this year's Masters. On to some sad news, former Ohio State standout and 2019 first-round pick Dwayne Haskins was killed this past weekend after being hit on the highway by a dump truck. Dwayne was down in Florida doing off-season workouts with some of his teammates before the accident occurred. Dwayne was only 24 years old and was someone that was loved by many guys around the league. May he rest in peace. To switch it up and in on a lighter note, the Kansas Jayhawks took down North Carolina last week, 72-69 to win their first national championship since 2008. As I stated last week, I'm not a big KU fan at all, but you've got to give it to the guys like Ochai and McCormick. They flat out balled when they needed it the most. Overall, it was a very fun March Madness, and I'm already looking forward to next year. That's all for this week Into the Den. As always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks for joining us this week. Subscribe to us on YouTube and Instagram.
And check out RooTV and Roo News for campus and KC Metro News. We'll see you next week.